Welcome back. When it comes to migrant communities, we can talk a lot about culture, identities, even hyphenated nationalities like British Bangladeshi or British Muslim or British Asian or whatever. Romena, you wanted to read out some passages from there on these topics.
So the structure of the book is basically we've split it up into themes. So I will share a few sections from a few random themes.
Right.
So this section is by Mr. Alhaj Ustar Ali, and it's in the Adjusting to Britain chapter. So he says, there was nobody from my province in Bangladesh, but there were some people who I had a distant relationship with. I didn't understand the language. I had problems getting to work, and Bangladeshis faced many problems. We had rooms with no doors. In one room, there would be 5 to 7 people.
Rooms with no doors?
Yeah, no doors.
Windows?
With, well, windows, absolutely. 10 to 15 people would eat rice with one curry out of a pot. It's not like today. Later on, once we slowly learnt the language, we could stand on our own feet. The way of life was different in this country. Travelling from one city to another was a real struggle. We were illiterate and did not understand this culture. A lot of us didn't know how to read numbers, so what we used to do was put bricks in front of our homes to signal our location. My friend did not know what 8 was.
Lucky that nobody removed those bricks.
My friend did not know what 8 was, so I told him, put 2 eggs on top of each other, and the number would look like an 8. So that's how they problem solved during that time.
I heard that. Duyandabas.
Yeah, there you go.
Number 8.
Yeah. So that's the origin of it. It came as a result of not being able to read the numbers. There was also another piece I'd like to share, and this is by Miss Saida Chowdhury. So there used to be Bengali males, but not many Bengali females. I used to sit down and relax, and when the restaurant wasn't busy, so her husband was working in the restaurant. So when the restaurant wasn't busy, I'd go there, and everyone there I'd call uncle, and they'd treat me like their niece. They'd always feed me and treat me with something if they went out. There weren't many Bengalis, but there was this one lady, very light-skinned, who I saw from a distance once, and then I ended up moving near her. Then once in the street we saw each other, and she was wearing a sari, so I spoke to her. And she asked me, which country are you from? I said, Bangladesh. That moment she gave me a massive hug and said she hasn't found another Bengali person, and she has been here for a few months.
A Bengali female?
Another Bengali female. So she'd seen a Bengali female after ages of being with these uncles in the restaurant. So I used to go to her house a lot, and she used to care about me a lot and treated me like a sister. If she cooked, she would make it for me too, and I also cooked occasionally too. There are other stories as well.
Have you come across people who have been complaining about losing their culture in this foreign country?
That was one of our major themes, was preserving the Bangladeshi culture. I think one of our first generation's greatest fears was that the next generation would neglect their Bangladeshi heritage and would assimilate to the British culture. They're very proud of their Bangladeshi heritage.
Well, so far they have done very well.
Yeah, yes, they have. I mean, you were mentioning the Mela, which is a nice celebration for us.
But it is the identity. Who am I? Am I a Bangladeshi? No. Am I British? No. Well, Muslim, yes, I see. Am I Bengali? Yes, I see. So my nationality is British Bangladeshi, but on my passport it says only British, not British Bangladeshi.
It's become its own identity. The British Bangladeshi Muslim identity, Asian, it's its own identity, so it needs a history. And that's why this research is so necessary, because we're a very specific group.
Right.
We don't share the same heritage as somebody who just lives in Bangladesh. And we don't share the same heritage as the British people. We have our own unique history.
But in this process, haven't we become a foreigner in Bangladesh?
We absolutely. And I think
they call us Londony.
Yeah, they do call us Londony. And then here they call us Bangladeshi. And they'll ask me, are you Bangladeshi, are you British? I'm both. I'm a bit of everything. I'm human. I recently did a conference at SOAS University, and I met with lots of second and third generation Bangladeshis, British Bangladeshis. And they were talking about their genuine identity crisis, not being able to fit into any any box, but feeling sort of just in between several boxes. And when we published this book, a lot of young people have got into contact with us, students from Cambridge, PhD students from like other universities, who are contacting us about our sources, where we're getting this information from, if they can speak to these people. And I think that demonstrates the need for this type of research. I think that demonstrates how desperate our generation is for an identity.
No, it's good that you have done it, because the people you have interviewed are, without being offensive, they are endangered species. They will be gone.
They're very precious.
Yes, they're
very precious, and this could not have come any later. It's so necessary right now.
I would like to read out something from here. Despite parents' desire to retain Bengali culture, we found this first generation were also accepting their children adopting parts of British culture, as they wanted them to integrate with the society in which they lived.
That's right.
How would you take this and consider the situation today?
I think when they talk about keeping parts of our Bangladeshi heritage, our generation seem to love curry, and
yes.
Food is so central to our culture and our celebrations, and the younger generation embrace that part of our heritage.
It's not only that we love it, we have been able to sell it. There are 10,000 restaurants employing 100,000 people and creating a turnover of probably 4 billion or more.
I'm so glad you've said that, because we have a councillor who is a councillor at the time, and he very nicely said that once you love the food, you start to love the people, because the food is just so central to the people.
Yes, yes.
And Bangladesh as well. Bangladeshis brought curry to the country.
As I say, the way to someone's heart is through their stomach.
Absolutely, and that's what they did. They definitely won a lot of the community's heart through their fine cuisine.
Yes.
And the new generation embrace that, and they celebrate that, and they're making money out of it. So they're being creative with it, that's for sure. But things like even clothes, and you look at the way that the Asian people are dressing, they're embracing Asian attire, and that's credit to this first generation of Bangladeshis. The women in this book, the ones we interviewed, refused to wear Western clothing.
Yeah.
They were so proud of their saris, and even though it was piercingly cold outside, they'd just put big jackets over their saris, and they'd still go out in their saris because they were so proud of their heritage.
Yes, I mean, go to a wedding ceremony, and the English people who come there, they would often ask that you are attired dressed in a suit, and and you look like us, but the females, they are in beautiful saris. They don't accept the Western dress. See.
What can we say? Women are more resilient.
More resilient and probably more clinging on to their culture. See.
They were. They were. I think some of the women were saying they were just like, I couldn't imagine wearing trousers. Like, the sari is something that my family loved. It's something they were so proud of, and it's how they identified each other.
Right.
It brought people closer. By preserving their heritage, it made that community stronger.
But sari is acceptable in many other countries too. I mean, that is the universality of sari. Of like in India, in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, and also in many other countries, they accept, if they don't wear the particular style, there's some other way. See, even in some African countries, they wrap it around, but it doesn't look like sari then, but it is sari.
Yeah, everybody has their own unique way of wearing the sari, but one thing that we highlighted was that the Bangladeshi women were not going to let that one go to this day.
Anything interesting you remember during the interviews that happened with you or some other persons?
Yes, absolutely. I have many. I thought you'd never
were talking about this GP.
The GP, right. Okay, so we interviewed a local GP, Dr. Andrew Elder. So he was there for about 3 generations of the Bangladeshis. So that he was there from the start, and he was even the GP of some of my siblings as well, and myself. So, so he saw a lot of the changes amongst the Bangladeshi community. So he was talking about us. We managed to interview him. And he said, there's a lot for us to learn about, really. It was certainly a challenging process for us in the first place. And there were also a lot of people, maybe this is a little later, in the Bengali community who helped. We had a wonderful Bengali advocate. She was an enormous help to us. She used to accompany families in to see us, to interpret, but more importantly, to help us understand something about family life and family culture, and to explain how perhaps to get the best out of a doctor. She was a really, really important figure if you are looking at how families got on in relation to health things in Marylebone. She was around for many years. She was a very wise, very tactful woman, very committed to the Bengali community, and also was able to easily make friends with us, and was a very good intermediary. She and some colleagues later went on to establish the Marlborough Family Service, a special Asian families project. The project was really to try and help Bengali and other Asian families with mental health problems, as it was easier for us to respond to physical health problems, because doctors are all trained in that way.
That's true.
So, to help at a mental health level, you have to understand culture and psychology and religious customs and all those other things that we don't immediately know about. So there was this Asian family project to help with mental health problems.
Great.
And we interviewed her. So we interviewed the lady that he spoke about. So you will find her in the book, and that was Mrs. Husna Ara Mubin. It was a wonderful, wonderful.
Very briefly, have you ever come across, during the interviews, during the encounter with these elderly ladies, have they picked up English?
Have they picked up English? Well, the lady that Dr. Andrew was talking about speaks English most beautifully. Very, very beautifully.
This is the first generation?
This is first generation. So when she came here, she was actually educated in Bangladesh. Again, another popular misconception about our Bangladeshi women. They assume that this country has given them liberation. But this is incorrect. Like, she was educated before she came to this country. So when she came, she re-educated herself, but she wasn't newly educated. But anyway, so she picked up English wonderfully, and also taught Bangla to the next generation as well. But some of the other ladies, they were really dedicated to their children. Their children are you know, they're graduates, they're working great jobs, they sacrificed their own desire to learn the English language to just invest it into their children.
Romena, thank you very much.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
It was delightful having you on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you have enjoyed the show as much as we have, and appreciated the good work that Romena and her team has done. A community is identified by its culture, and Bangladeshi communities have been able to retain despite all the odds. Mentioning culture, we are going to organize a Boishakhi Mela on 14th of May, and NTV will be telecasting live from there from 12 midday to 7 p.m. 14th of May in Weavers Field. So come one, come all, and show the world that we haven't forgotten our culture. That's the way to go. Thank you very much for being with us. Same time, same channel next week. Take care till then.